So, hello, my name's Stefan. I'm a mental health OT. I have been for the past 5 years, and I just wanted to start this YouTube channel because I really wanted to be able to help men's mental health. I think men are struggling a lot in this day and age, particularly, and a lot of men's issues are not really being voiced, they're not really being heard. A lot of men feel like the world has no empathy for them and that loneliness is rising. There's an epidemic on our hands at the moment, and 25% of people, I don't know where, like, I'm from Australia, but 25% of Australians report that they're feeling lonely. And loneliness has been, the research has suggested that loneliness is as dangerous as smoking 11 cigarettes per day. And it actually increases your mortality rate by 25%. Now, I don't know about you, but that seems like a very big epidemic on our hands that we have going on. And the suicide rates in Australia are going through the roof. More than 6 people, or around 6 men, are killing themselves every day. And if you ask me, there's this way too much. And nothing's being said about it, nothing's being done about it. And I want to get to the bottom of it. I want to try and understand, why are men killing themselves? Where is this issue lie? And how can we essentially talk about it and fix it? So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through the self-improvement Reddit. And I think it's really good because there's a lot of there's 1.9 million people here, and it's just a good way to be able to kind of understand what people are going through. And I want to kind of read their responses, and I'll talk through about my advice and what I would say or do to help this person. So the poster says, I'm 34, single, and professionally well settled as a data analysis. I'm lately starting to realize that time is just passing me by and not getting around to do the things I've been meaning to do, and not have the energy to reflect on what exactly I want out of life. When work gets hard, I don't even have the brain power to think of anything besides work. Especially the last 3 years has sped up so quickly that it's hard to recollect events and pinpoint as to when exactly it happened. This coincides when I started working in tech, and I'm not sure if the monotonous nature of corporate life that's making me feel this way. I'm into fitness, so I find solace going for runs and working out, but sometimes that too feels like I'm going through the motions. I find happiness and bliss when I meditate, but as the day progresses, I no longer have that same enthusiasm I experienced during meditations. I'm still inspired to try new things, get out of my comfort zone, and travel to new places, and drive the urge to drive, but the drive and urge to do it isn't as strong as it was in my 20s. I could be limiting myself based on societal expectations as to how 30s should behave and act, maybe. Most of my friends are married, but it's too late to start meeting new people. Is it too late to start meeting new people? Just hanging out, going to concerts and stuff in your 30s. I want to get that spark back into my life and feel the enthusiasm and excitement on a regular basis. What steps have you or taking in your 30s to live the best life? I think this is a great question for Cerebral Rocks, and I'm getting close to my 30s. I'm single. I'm a 28-year-old man. I will turn 29 this year, so this resonates a lot with me. And there's a lot of things to unpack in this, and he talks a little bit about that. He has some good habits. I mean, he's into fitness, he meditates, he's got a good job, and I think he's just kind of getting to the point where his life feels a little bit monotonous, as he's mentioned here. And the reality is that life can be monotonous. I mean, 95% of our behaviors are the exact same as the day before. And it's just the subconscious mind. You have to understand, our mind is programmed for survival. And so our mind loves to predict the future. It loves to be able to know what we're going to be doing in the future, because when you can predict the future, it means that you are safe, that the mind can predict that you're going to be safe, which is going to be essential for you if you want to survive going forward. But what my advice would be for this individual is that he's still inspired to try new things, get out of his comfort zone, travel to new places, but the drive wasn't as strong in his 20s. And I think the reason being for that is because he's seeing all these people around him in his life. His friends are getting married. He's probably finding new partners. And it is so hard for us as males and females. everyone has this pressure, this societal obligation that you need to go to school, you need to get a job, you need to go to university or get a trade. You then need to find a partner, you need to then buy a home, you need to settle down and actually go and live this life that society's programmed us to live. And if you're not living that life or you're not sticking true to whatever that is, then you kind of feel like a failure, that you kind of feel like that you're not living up to societal's expectations. And I believe that that's where part of the issue lies, is that so many of us try to live in accordance with what society wants us to be. And we kind of change and mold ourselves to fit in with other people. And when you fit in, what you're doing is that you're actually dishonoring yourself, because you're sacrificing your own dreams, your own desires, your own ideals of how you want your life to be so that you can fit into this image of what society wants you to be. And I suggest for this individual is that to really spend some time with yourself and understand, what is this next chapter in your life? What are the values that you want to uphold as a man? And what is it that you want to be? And I would say just keep working towards that, because you want to stay true to your own path. And as hard as it is sometimes when you see other people that are just going on holidays or being in relationships or doing things that you think that you should be doing by now, there's no progress bar on life, right? There's no right way to do life. The right way to do life is the way that you want to live your life. And I think there's a lot of comfort in that. That you set the rules for your own happiness, and that you can't get this happiness from anyone else or from anything outside of you. It has to come from within. But you need to be able to take the time to plug yourself out of society, take yourself away from technology, and really sit down and ask yourself, what is it that I want out of this life? What are the things that I want to work towards? Right? Now, you've got this job in tech that you said a data analysis. And so is that the what you really want out of life? I think men especially, we get to this midpoint in life where we realize is like life does get a little bit monotonous, and you start to become aware and understand that, do I really want to do this for the rest of my life? And that can be a very difficult position for someone, because look, for you're single, you don't have kids, you don't have responsibilities, so you're in a bit of a better position than other men who have a family, they have responsibilities, they need to be bringing money so they can bring it to the table and provide for their family. But for you, I would say that really question if this is the direction that you want to go. You might be feeling like your life's getting a bit monotonous and boring because it's not the direction that you want. And so I would encourage you to take some time to really think about where you want to go in your life, and start to actually plan, start to actually think, is this the direction I want? If you want to take some time off, do it, because your life is short. That is the reality, is that you're only on this life for a small period of time. So you want to make sure that you're doing things that are aligned with your true intentions of what you want. But I still think you're on a really good path. And it's just about enjoying that journey that is life. It can be difficult. There are tough times, but it's about seeing your life as it is and then consciously creating the vision or the future that you want for yourself. But keep at it. I want to read some comments and see what people said. So, mid-30s, no kids, just recently single. Career's doing great. Fork in the road. My life in my current city is so depressing, and pretty much all the friendships I've helped build are vanishing. I feel most alone here now, but I get paid here better. My finances here are better. No stress or moving back to my home city. Closer to family, no permanent job lined up yet, but it's easy to find jobs in my profession. My finances would be altered. I don't know what to do now. Okay, so yeah, it's very interesting. A lot of people talk about not having friends, single dad, just exploring shit. I've been in a relationship with a kid's mother 12 years. Feels like I'm still a kid in some areas, but I think I'm enjoying myself. I feel more in tune with my stuff, I guess. I don't really have any expectations to live up to. Got my own place, car, kids, whatever, but I know what you mean about spark. I get that through my kids. They light up when they see shit I've seen 100 times, so I guess that's good. What I'm looking for is self-actualization. since I kind of postponed that part of my life for being busy, and I'm really into Ayurveda stuff. Been looking at meditation. I think I've butchered that, but I know that's like an Indian ideology of wellness, which I really enjoy. Realizing myself from my ego and stuff, and that makes stuff easier because I do what I want to do, and I don't really care what other people think, or at least I try it. I want to go to a concert. I want to go to a concert. If I want to go to a concert, go to a concert. I notice there are a lot of traumas I can work on, and I think that pushes me in the right direction. I guess I want to be the best version of myself. Dating has been rough, not because I can't get dates, but I really don't want to repeat the cycle, and I'm forced to hold back because I don't want to commit to something before I'm ready. But finding a good partner to share my life with will be ideal at some point, I guess. And this was I love the way that this guy explained his life, and he seems like he's on a really good journey. But one thing I really want to talk about, and one thing that I think that men are missing out of their life, is this sense of self-actualization. Now, give me 1 second. I want to kind of put my camera on if I can. Oh, what's happened there? Look, I don't know. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to open this for a little bit. Hopefully you guys can see me. It's a bit blurry, actually. 1 second. Hopefully that's better. Sorry, I probably would have been talking and it would have been blurry that whole time. So this is a bit better, a bit more intimate for you. So here's one thing that I think a lot of men are missing in this day and age, and I think it contributes to a big problem with why men are depressed, why men are suicidal, why men are anxious, is that they lack this sense of self-actualization. And my version of self-actualization, or my belief of self-actualization, is to fulfill all the potentials that you can possibly be. And that is the peak of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And now at the bottom, we've got our like shelter, food, love, community, whatnot. But then there's this self-actualization part of ourselves. And I think it's particularly important for a male, men especially, because we need to feel like that we have a sense of purpose in our life. We need to feel like that we have this sense of obligation, that we're growing, that we're providing for others, that we're actually pushing forward towards the best possible version of ourselves that we can be. And I think that starts with a selfish perspective first, is that you begin to be the best version of yourself for you. You get yourself in good physical shape, you work on your finances, you work on your emotional health, you work on your mindset, you work on all these small areas, and you're constantly seeing an improvement in your life over and over again. And this individual talks a lot about it. He seems like he's going deep and understanding that he is this consciousness that is constantly evolving and growing. And a lot of the times that self-actualization process is growing past our old traumas, because we all have baggage. We all have these limiting beliefs that hold us back, these fears, these doubts, these insecurities, and they really do stop us from taking the action towards becoming what we really want to be. And I've seen this a lot in my life, and especially with making content like this. I love making content. I love helping people. I'm in a profession where I help people every day. But the thought of going online and presenting myself to the internet and making content is something that I found really difficult, and I still find really difficult, because there's a part of me that cares what people think. There's a part of me that's scared to show myself, to be vulnerable, to be open. And that's not a part of myself that I've properly healed yet. And the only way you do heal that is through action. You heal that through understanding that that is a wound. It's something that's holding you back. And that is the journey of life. It's a journey as life is, in my opinion, is about letting go of all the limitations that are holding you back towards the ideal version of yourself that you want to be. And I think that's a beautiful path for most men. And it's a loving path, because you're just growing in towards becoming a person that is full, that is whole, that is you're expressing the whole potential of who you are. And it's something that's missing for a lot of men in these day and age, because they don't feel like they have that sense of purpose. They don't feel like that they have this role or this responsibility that they can work towards. And that's why I'm a big believer that as a man, you need to have your purpose your purpose needs to be the priority above everything, above your family. And that might be controversial for a lot of people, but you need direction. Your purpose may be your family, sure. Your purpose may be something about in your career, but you need to have a strong foundation, a strong direction of where you want to go in your life and why you're heading in that direction. Because when everything else gets taken away from you, and for some people I've worked with, they've had everything taken away from them. They've had their finances taken away. They've had their kids taken away, their family taken away. They've had their parents go, siblings go. And so when you do have everything taken away from you, you need to have something that grounds you. You need to have something that keeps you going. And that is your purpose. It's your desire to wake up in the morning. It's your will to keep going. It needs to be something that's greater than yourself. Because if it isn't, and if it's shallow and it's superficial, it won't keep you going. It won't sustain you. It won't fill your cup. And that's why I think that it is imperative for all men to know what their purpose is, to know what direction they're going in and why they're doing it. And that can take some time. It can take some time to learn. It's also growing. It's developing in time as well. Like it evolves. And a lot of the time men don't know their purpose because we're too much into society. We're too much in with the crowd and it kind of gets muddled and clouded. And that's why I think it's really important that you need to take yourself out of the crowd. You need to take yourself out of the herd, because that's when you can unplug yourself from all the distractions. You can unplug yourself from the social medias. You can unplug yourself from the internet, from all these things that are kind of on a war of your attention. They're all trying to grab your attention one by one. And we're living in a time where there is a war on attention. All these companies are battling to keep your attention, and you need to work to pull yourself out, to give yourself time outside of that, to truly think for yourself, to think what is it that I want to do in my life? Who is it that I want to be? What is the direction I want to go? And start to begin to take action in that. And that's a process that I'll probably make another video on, and how to really identify what your strengths are so that you can look to become better at that thing. Because self-actualization, I think, is a very similar mindset towards mastery. And that you look at all the best people in their professions, whether it be athletes, whether it be composers or musicians, whether it be scientists, whether it be businessmen, they're all a master of their trade. Whatever it is they've decided to dedicate their time towards, they're a master at it. And a master's mentality is always one of learning. They always want to learn. They're curious to know. They're curious to grow. And that is the same for self-actualization, is that you want to have that learner's mindset. You want to have that growth mindset to know that you're constantly evolving, you're constantly growing. And I'll teach you guys how to do that, because I'll make another video. It's pretty long topic, but we'll break it down and we'll go through everything with that. But I'll leave it for that for the first video. I hope you enjoyed it. I loved making this. I actually feel really good making these videos. So I will leave you today, and I'll see you all in the next one.